I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night. Thank you for joining me, guys, for more crap in the news. More crap in the news is getting popular, it's being shared, and people find it interesting. In the green room, we have Lynnie Poo, who's going to be joining us in a few seconds. Let's test out the fart machine. Oh, that one was wet. That was a good one there. And you know what, guys? Because this is, what are they trying to feed us? What are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to shove down our throats? Welcome, everyone, to the show. Guys, do not forget, if you please don't forget to send me your show tips on Instagram. Please send me your show tips on Instagram, and I'll be happy to add them to the lineup to read for you guys on Bullcrap in the News. And this is all mainstream media stuff, so, I mean, we're just kind of trying to, I guess, what are they selling us? What are they telling us? What are they trying to shove down our throats? To me, it sounds like a bunch of crap. Lynnie, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight on Bullcrap News, or Crap in the News. And let's start off with our first article. Here it is. Electric cars are the future. Here's how to get America drivers interested in them. So we saw what happened with the cold front and charging cars and dead batteries. I mean, people don't understand, Lynnie, how expensive it is to actually make all the materials to make an electric vehicle, and the lithium ion and all the chemicals and all the resins and oils.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then it's really expensive to fuel up, or so to speak, or power up. But that's a really good point about all the like lithium, these kinds of products, getting them out of the ground. How is that any better? That really reminds me of their typical bait and switch tactics. Right? Always make it look like, gee, here's what we're going to do to save the day. And then fast forward and you look behind in the trail of destruction that it leaves. That's not going to be any different, I guess, than their typical bait and switch. Illegal to market in the free market, right? We have laws against that, but they go ahead. And that's their go-to method of pushing something on us and wrecking the world some more.
Electric vehicles, including plug-in electric hybrids, accounted for less than 2% of new U.S. vehicles sold in 2019. You know what, Lynnie? I was looking at the statistics on how vehicles become more and more sufficient on fuel and more efficient on fuel. And we noticed that from the cars from the 60s, from the 70s, you see this drastic decrease in use of fuels. And I'm pretty sure if we went another 10 more years on fuel, and we'd be more efficient than we'd be running off fumes by then.
Yeah, but we have even more efficient ways, right? We've all heard different technologies that have come up and could be available, but are suppressed. Like, I think you were saying the other day about water. Someone had brought up water engine. There's other ways to make engines go, but this is their little method of choice because, of course, they're in control of it. So they need, they're in control. You got to buy what I've got to sell. And that's the whole oil thing. And, that's another good thing that people could explore. I don't know. And it's true. Fuel is less. But, man, cars sure used to last a lot longer. And you know what else? Everyone could fix their own car once upon a time.
Yeah,
every man did that once, remember?
The Volkswagen Bug, I think it was the 69 or 71 Volkswagen Bug. That vehicle came with the tools already equipped with it from the factory to let you rebuild that entire car if you had to and take it apart.
That's so awesome. And that was very typical. Even me as a teenager, I mean, who didn't know how to go in? And if your car didn't start, you knew how to sort of hotwire it. Like, who couldn't? It wasn't really a hotwire. It was just a regular thing. You understood what joined together to make it go. That's not a big deal. And who didn't take, remember in school, like you could take shops, and learn how to. Now that doesn't happen. Now what is going on with those motors? So a lot more waste, and I don't know.
I think they have more gender studies.
Yeah, exactly. They're got their money in all the wrong places.
Okay, next article. You ready?
Yes.
So guys, we're playing a game like with Lynnie. So basically what I'm doing is This is like Lynnie's sitting down. She opens her newspaper and finds the article I'm going to read to her. So basically what I'm trying to get from her is what comes to mind the second I read this to your mind. So you ready? So Lynnie was not pre-cursed, or she doesn't know what I'm going to read to her. Ready? So that's why. So here goes. Ready? Here goes. 60 years after Eisenhower's warning, distinct signs of a digital intelligence complex. So if you remember Dwight David Eisenhower on his last farewell speech to the people of America, he warned everybody of an military industrial complex. Now it's looming that they're saying, watch out for the digital intelligence complex.
Yeah. Watch out for it. I mean, watch out. It's here and it's been here for a long time. So I don't know, when did they say watch out?
Yeah.
In 84 or when? Like when? Because I think it was 84. Or do you mean that's not breaking news?
This is definitely not breaking, but somebody of a higher level capacity now is warning people.
Yeah, well, now that it's very obvious, I guess, he doesn't have to die for having said that, because that's self-evident now. I guess you can't say it in the day when it could make a difference. It's a little late to make a difference over that. We're in it.
Mm-hmm. So people
Parts
feel
could be good. Yeah, but the evil, is in there. So what are you going to do?
Well, it says here, Jeff Bezos recently relinquished the role of Amazon CEO to Amazon Web Services and boss Andy Jassy, illustrating the pride of place AWS enjoys with Amazon. AWS Vice President Teresa Carlson says growing is largely driven by U.S. government projects. So they're talking about YouTube and AWS. So AWS is a big company, a big internet conglomerate that actually works with the CIA, and it helps with Amazon and other tech companies, and they have joint enterprises, and they work with defense. So I think there's too much hinged, in my opinion. There's too much hinged on one major, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're very interconnected. They're really starting to there's been a big tangled web that's been weaved around us. And we're starting to see them pull the strings, and it's pulling that whole fancy knot tighter and tighter. And those guys, they're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
You just see all these big companies connecting more and more. Like even Bill Gates, he stepped down from Microsoft right after he launched his latest patent. They got that patented, down he stepped and moved right into another position to go, pull that string. But that's right? It's the same kind of thing.
AWS basically is a cloud commuting software. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars in setting it up. And I think it's dangerous. I think it's like those fusion centers they've set up in the United States where they would fuse everyone's information from their passport numbers to social security to their current phone numbers, current addresses, where they lived, who they lived with, who they've been in contact with. And these fusion centers do exist, and they've been just compiling information. But it's kind of scary who could...
But they're all attached, yeah, because when you think, okay, now they're going to knit where product comes from, like Amazon, so if you want to shop, they just knit all that together, and you can just see, right, as it tightens, the noose is going to all start to tighten. So that's another interesting little connections. Lots of interesting connections are coming up all over the place in very different fields and sects, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fart reverb. What fart? Okay, let's move on. Ready for this one? Are you sitting down for this one?
Well, yes, here I go.
It's not a big one. I just wanted to get you excited. Apple reclaims top smartphone maker, first time since 2016. Wow.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Nice. I use Apple now. I switched. I used to always have the computer, like my laptop, but I switched to my phone, which was a really rough switch because I've always been, there's a whole completely different system, right? It's very different to switch to Apple. But now that I've done it, it's a great thing. They really know how to make life easy. I mean, you can see why it's so easy to get hooked on all of the technology. It makes life and organizing information, organizing work, and they tie in together. My laptop ties in with the phone. I can see.
Well, I'm an Android fan. I'm sorry. I love Android, but
so was I. I was hooked. I loved Android. I know I don't prefer. It's not that, but it's the computer. It's the laptop that got me. My, I've got, but it's very thin, and that's the best. I need it for work too, because I work a lot on plans and designs, and it's the best system for, architect drawings that are very complicated. So because I had to have that with my laptop, to sync it up with your iPhone is very good. But I was too. Don't worry. I like that system. I like your operating system.
Apple sold in Q4, fourth quarter of 2020 sales, 79,942 units, where Samsung sold 62,117 units. All right, next article. Listen to this. Are you ready for this? You're not going to believe this. This is down your alley.
Yay.
Japan appoints Minister of Loneliness after disturbing rise in social distancing era suicides. So more people died of suicides in the last quarter of 2020 than died of all of COVID across Japan.
Yes, I remember when that actually came out quite a while ago. I guess this is an update to now they have a minister.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. They've appointed one. I think they always had high suicide rates, though. They did anyway. So it just turns out that, I'm sure there's more now with COVID, but they always did anyway. And I'm sure that their suicide rate would have been, higher anyway.
Oh, my God, Lynnie.
What?
I didn't know it was this. Listen to this. I did not know this. The leading cause of death in men are among the ages of 20 to 44 and women among the ages of 15 to 34. Then it goes on to say the most recent numbers cited in Japanese media reports 879 women killed themselves in the country during the month of October. 879 women killed themselves in the month of October.
Yeah, they have issues there. They do. They have worse issues than COVID, that's for sure. And so do we all. So, but that's theirs. I'm not sure what it is, what drives that, but obviously something is not working right, in their overall society, their culture. Maybe there's too much pressure. I know they have high pressure to perform there and be perfect. So could be that.
According to preliminary figures released, the National Police Agency, 20,919 people took their own lives in 2020, up 750 from the previous year. So suicide is almost one of the leading causes of death in Japan.
Yes.
You would think it'd be car crashes or, like big other things that would take someone's life. I wouldn't think suicide would be up there.
Yeah, especially like with the honor that they have, right? It would be very dishonorable in their culture, especially because they were quite warriors, in their blood for hundreds of years. But that's a lot of pain. That's a lot of pain going on. So what's at the root of that pain? Well, they're the ones who should know, they would know their own culture. Like they're the ones who, if someone wants to start getting honest about how they feel, they can get to the root. But I think looking in on other people's cultures, it would be hard to tell why, but I know they do. Something's going up there with the pain, and we're all, like all countries, pain seems to be on the rise. Suicide's on the rise.
Okay. Well, ready for this one? Okay, so I pay my gas bill up front. So when I get my $400 and my $600 gas bill to my door, I just pay the $600 and I'm done with it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, all the neighbors on my block and all the neighbors on the other block and the other block, they're all chanting and prancing and cheering that they're only paying $94 a month of a fixed rate. But the problem is it's building a balance in behind that they probably would not be able to afford. Now, why am I telling this? Well, I've read my gas bill on the show, on the channel many times. Are you ready for this next article?
Yes.
Variable rate electricity plans under scrutiny after Texas Power bill chaos. More than a dozen states will allow companies to offer variable rate plans which fluctuate with the power prices as of 2019. About 11 million homes and businesses nationwide were enrolled in variable rate programs according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. So I looked into this and I found out that basically what's happening with that is the rates will change as there's shortages or less power needed or whatnot, or power becomes cheaper at a certain time, whatever, right? But in Canada, we it's a little bit different. We got this prorated system where we only pay so much, but then you have a back end balance that is in fine print on your bill that you can't even see it, that you owe the gas company. So if you sell your house, they'll be like, you still owe us $67,000. And they'll be like, for what? You used all this gas and you had it prorated at $97, but you still owe us all this back gas. So no one's been paying I'm the only one that's been paying my back gas up front.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back gas, like you mean like on the budget plan?
So what happens is the gas company, so this is variable power. So the power will adjust for Americans if it's cheaper certain times, more expensive. They're having tougher time harnessing electricity, or they have some financial breakdown or something and they have to charge more, right?
Yeah.
But with the gas company in Canada, they're actually charging a pro-rate plan where you don't pay more than $90 a month to heat your home in the winter. And it's supposed to be something nice to help people out. But realistically, you still owe the other money that you didn't pay. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
So a lot of people have this invisible bill building up the last 10, 15 years, and it's in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 range.
Wow. We don't have that here. We have nothing like that here, but we do have a thing where you can go on the budget. It's kind of like that. They take an amount and then they average what it should be. But you're right. Like you're just doing it as you go. You're on a pay as you go. We had tried that. There were some people who were trying to offer a competitive price. I don't know. Is the variable rate also dependent upon competition? Like, is it free open market,
right?
Or are they fixed across the board? I thought fixing prices was illegal, but okay.
Well, not if it's the federal government or provincial government.
Yeah. Like, you would think, there maybe put that market open if that's going to be called a variable rate. Otherwise, I'm not too sure.
Well, who are we going to compete? How can you compete if there's variable rate, but you give us 3 different options? In BC, you got no option but BC Hydro or BC Gas.
Right.
So
yeah.
You don't have much. It's all federalized or provincialized. All right, next article. You ready for this?
Yes.
Canceling national heroes makes U.S. historically illiterate and will create an identity crisis for our young people. So they want to cancel all the founding fathers, all the people that made America what it is and allows people to stand there and protest freely and be part of the common man and free enterprise, develop, build, expand, make money. It's free market. Now they want to start canceling the heroes that made that possible for them.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep things like constitutions or, papers that guarantee freedoms intact, I mean, I'm not too sure how honest all the history is, to tell you the truth. I don't know. And who even knows history? And if you want to talk about history, how about forget the people who did whatever, but more the spirit or the movement behind it, like a bigger picture than a person maybe, because then you can criticize that person. So
right.
Abe Lincoln, he was great, he fought for slavery, or was he great, did he not own slaves and whatever else? So there's so much of that, the two sides of it. I don't know, it's okay if they don't want to start worshiping people, but keep the ideals and the higher ideals alive, and brilliant papers like that is what's more important. It's always more important when you have more than one person together inspired anyway to come together. Those are typically, we've got some good we have some good foundations when it comes to people trying to do the right thing when you're governing people, and actually you're not governing people because people are governing themselves because we're free. Yeah, but we need, we sort of decide and it's run, and then you have people who do their service, and they put their service by not being a professional politician. Politicians were never meant to be professionals. Our systems were never meant for that. It was intended that you would do your part, serve your people, then go back to your life.
That's right.
And if you could run your business well, then people say, you know what, she's really good at running that stuff. Hey, you have great ideas. Why don't you, take over for a while, like help us out here, right? It's supposed to be that spirit of that, but it's become completely corrupted. Well, I'm sure you'll get to that in the news. That's, I'm not going to tell you anything new, but yeah, if it was the spirit, fine. Those people, the statues, it's disrespectful. What do you expect? But it's not at the heart of what's important. So that I can move on from.
Okay. What fart? All right. We'll have herd immunity by April. COVID cases have dropped 77 points in 6 weeks. Experts should level with the public about the good news. So what do you feel about that? What about the flu? Did we just cancel the flu this year, or maybe give us a little insight here?
Yeah, coronaviruses are the common cold. So if you look back at the American Medical Association's books, like their literature, go back to the 90s, I think 98. It says right there, coronavirus, common cold. This is what we're talking about. It's not flu. It's true. Influenza. Woo, fancy name. They're a little different, the cold and the flu. But influenza, would have A, B, different strains, same kind of thing. That's what we're dealing with. And yeah, that's what it is. A lot of people, this is normal. What doesn't happen, I guess most people are amazed to learn that this has always been. These viruses go around, they slightly mutate because your body learns how to, it's like a code, right? So it's exactly like a computer code. Think of it exactly like a program.
Mm-hmm.
And these little viruses come in. They come in. Your body is also, a little war machine. It sees the intruder. It figures out its code. So you'll start to get a fever. You need to rest because your body is going to go fight that. And the way it does, it learns its code of the virus. Then it can know how to grab it perfectly and flush it out. That's how you start to get better. And it always keeps some of those little antibodies in the bloodstream always, so that
Always.
if that comes back,
Programmed.
it's a hair trigger, you can't get me. And that's how it moves through. So they've got to change just a little, just so it can try again. And your body, if it's had it before, it's a little change. It's easy. Like, it's supposed to work that way. The less you get sick, the less better your immune system is. So it's good to get those. Your body will learn how to, fight it off. It's not a big deal. So this has been going on. People don't realize people die of the flu and the cold. So making a big deal of it, and that it's normal. Yeah. And the variants, well, the real corona, I mean, you can't stop the truth. We've been hearing the truth since day one, and the science and the truth don't matter. So go ahead, report the truth. We're herd immunity. I mean, it's been a cold. Yeah, it's been a real rough one. In real life, okay.
Well,
now
nothing
we're
happened
immune.
in this year, this flu season. I don't know anyone that's gotten the flu this year.
But I do know people who've had corona. I mean, you know what?
The
The
flu,
new
yeah.
name for corona, which is, the COVID. That's just it's coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around forever. Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yep.
Wet fart. All right, let's go over to this one. Cancel them before they cancel us. Gab CEO says banks have banned platform due to media smears. So the three banks have refused to do business with Gab. A Twitter competitor outspoken about the free speech in recent weeks. So they got rid of Parler. Wasn't Parler so much fun?
Parler was the best, and it's back. And I'm like, oh man, am I going to go back on? Like, I haven't even tried, but that was so good. It was so good. I could say anything I want. It was just like posted all the craziest stuff. And it was not crazy. It's real. It's true. It's real factual information that you might want to know. And not these news ones, not this. This is just the news. I'm talking real information. Like, if you want the real goods on what's going on, the real stuff. Like,
so anybody that creates a platform to talk about things in the news or to see if we can, our job as citizens is to find flaws in the government structure, find flaws in our, not to find like personal flaws, but to correct the problems that are being made, to correct so that we don't become slaves, ultimately slaves to our masters.
Oh, they're not our masters. And yeah, exactly. Like, what it is we're supposed to keep an eye on the people that are, in the government. That's our job. We're not supposed to take our eye off those guys. They have
the
so
media's
much power.
job was to do that, but the media completely took a complete 180 and is reporting on what the governments are asking now.
They were bought out.
Yeah.
Everyone, there was a time that you're right. That is what they did for a living. They're like, let's go see what these guys are up to. And off they went. And then, the guys, as they, like, the ones who have the most money, the more money you get, the more corrupt you can be. You can buy out people and professionals, and the more you can buy them out, the more you can grow. Plus, they take the money from the people because the bankers, that they're the most, like, that's where the biggest corruption is, right there. So, right, the banking system. And so then they are always like doing stuff to the people. So they grab more money and pay all their friends. So all those guys in that club, they're all paying each other, getting wealthier, and they just keep buying more up. And now we have seen what it's come to. They're literally buying up and controlling, like, they've got all their different areas, the pharma and the money and the corpse and the food and the land, like all that.
And they're promoting us to start eating flesh.
Yeah. Eat yourselves. What is up with that? I'm not even sure what that's supposed to be about. That's gross. And that's not healthy, because one thing we know in nutrition is that animals who eat their own selves, that's an abomination. Not it just it's not healthy. That's an abomination to your own body. Your body will get extremely sick. You can only do that for a while, like in survival situations, right? People have eaten other humans. Say they're in a crash, right? Remember that crash in the mountains
In the
and they
mountain, the
froze?
Andes, in the
Yeah.
Andes there, the crash. But that, I think it was a volleyball. No, it was a rugby team.
Yeah, and they did. That was a cool movie. They survived, but you can't survive forever on that. You would get sick.
Yeah.
Can't eat your own kind. Cows can't eat cows. That's how they got mad cow. Like, that can't happen. You can't feed an animal its own self. That's
Right.
That's basics in farming.
All right. Next article. Ready? It's your
Yes.
friend. Breaking. China instructs Canada to stop participating in anti-China farce by acknowledging genocide against the Uyghurs.
Yep. That's right. They're like, don't talk about that. That's a farce. Ha ha ha. Yeah, don't like so those guys are together, eh? Not that they are together. I mean, they're all already being run by above. Like Canada and China are being run above them. Those above guys are saying, "Hey, you two, you're going to start to join." And I guess the US too, because again, they're going to start governing from bigger chunks of the earth together, you know? And definitely that's all part of it. But it looks like China is calling the shots. That's just for show. But you're right. It looks like China's saying, hey, we're not doing anything wrong. But that's just because the more breads and circuses you have, the more people running around in circles and we're confused. And we're like, look what's happening. It's wrong. But, you know, you're just bumping around and running around. Really, it's from the top. It's made to look like, oh, China, wow, they're our enemy. You know, but look at our prime minister, they're best friends, and they want to be best friends with Biden.
Yeah. All right, ready for that? Hold on, let me wet fart. Okay, here goes. Here goes next one. So ready for this one? Here goes.
Yes.
So you open the paper, and the first thing you see, home addresses, social security numbers, and sensitive medical data on 500,000 French patients leaked online after hack reports. So how safe is our stuff online, Lynnie? How safe is our information? I mean, if they could release that much information, hackers threaten to leak massive trove of before and after plastic surgery photos, warned they're not a pleasant sight. Like, I mean, how safe are we to cyber attacks?
Yeah. I mean, in the end, everything you've done is going to be known in the end. So just when you know, and realize that that is our reality. Like, there's nothing to hide from anyway. There's nothing to hide. It's a matter of control. That's a different story, as long as you have your free will. But in the end, it's all known. So does it really matter? You're not hiding. You think you're hiding. You're not hiding. So get, you know, real with that. But your intimate stuff, you know, between two people, that's different. Hacking, that's just because they're trying to get us to go safer with, you know, it's like the voter fraud. It's the same idea. It's like be hack free, because only your own identity can release it. And that comes right down to our DNA. So if only your own DNA can release your information, well, I guess someone could steal your body parts. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's all that, you know, I mean, how safe are we? I mean, just judge yourselves. Like, yeah, if someone can take your money, I guess that's one thing, but eventually that's coming, I guess.
Okay.
Was
Next.
there to run?
Leaked docs reveal how news agency Router secretly serves as a tool for the British influence across the world. So it's being leaked that lots happening, and there's a lot of issues happening, especially with British schools being owned by the Chinese Communist Party, and they're buying up a lot of schools in England.
Yeah.
And private schools, and it's getting out of control. Now, you got news agencies serving as a tool for British influence. Now, the problem is, who's influencing the British? Is it Chinese?
Well, it depends. Like, it's not one kind of Chinese, which, wow, does that sound racist? But there's the kind that already are westernized,
Right?
right? And then the others. And so I would think that maybe there's more cooperation. And even those private schools, I mean, who's going to them? Are you sure it's not a bunch of Chinese people that have moved out there and they're all doing their own schools anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. You'd have to look a little deeper into that.
Well, it's been
Might be
happening since
more.
2003, and Nigel Farage has been reporting on it. It's a major issue that
Yeah.
schools, private schools, and schooling, and no, public school systems are being bought out. Public school are
Yeah, it
owned.
could be in the Chinese. Like, I know a lot of the different Asian countries that they have more wealthier people and they like their kids to go to school, like in the US and England. England's a big one. Like, all through the UK, they like that. They
Mm-hmm.
like the education. They like higher education. And then I think their schools are hard to get into because they have so many people. It's almost impossible. You have to pay, absorbent amounts of money. So they do send their kids a lot to the UK. That might be where that's coming from. I don't know that the Chinese are educating, the whites. I'm not too sure about with that. Could be their own.
Well, it goes on to say the UK overestimates its own appeal in opening its doors to Hong Kongers. It's a move based on imperial nostalgia.
And exactly, they have a big history there, and they have a lot of pride with that history as well. They don't even really identify as Chinese in a lot of ways. So, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they really do identify as a nice blend of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I've had clients like that, and I've seen pictures where they're wearing like the outfits and the flag of, England, like wherever they're from in
It's
England,
like the
like the
Macaoanese.
pride.
Macau spoke Portuguese, was part of Portugal. The Portuguese were 285 years longer than any other European presence in Asia, and the
Mm,
Portuguese dominated Macau, or Macau was given to the Portuguese so they could settle a trade route in China to help with more imports, right?
yeah.
So that was a big thing back, and a lot of the Macaoanese, a lot of them just went once Macau became under Chinese rule in 1999. A lot of people just went to Portugal, and then a lot of people went to Brazil. So
Hmm.
they kind of merged into those places, right? Okay,
Yeah.
next
Hmm.
article. Here goes.
Yep. Hmm.
NASA rover beams back first sounds ever recorded from the surface of Mars. The audio clips captured the guttural sounds of wind gusting on the red planet.
Great.
Wow.
Wow.
That's really nice to see that we're advancing, at least we're advancing off this planet into more of a, there's the nav cams. Looks really nice. Looks very,
I'll tell you one thing,
ah,
Mike. I
ah.
don't believe that, just so you know. I don't believe that at all.
Really? So
Truly,
you
I
think
have
this is
come to
somewhere in Arizona?
I don't know what they do, but I do know that NASA lies. I know
Oh,
that.
who doesn't lie?
No, they lie big time. So you know how there's all kinds of lies going on, like the banking system. What is that? Magic money. It's the land of the magic money. How the whole banking system works. Like, that doesn't even. It's not really a system, is
No,
it? It's like
see, Lenny,
abracadabra.
Lenny,
That's
if the
how
banking,
NASA is. What?
well, no, if the banking system, let's say the banking system worked like every human being in a position
A
that
free
they're in.
market.
Let's
Yes.
say it worked like me, like our lives.
Yes.
When we get into trouble, we just can't go to our computer and print off money, and then that saves the day, and we're safe. The banks go
Yeah.
ahead and print off money when they're in trouble, or they get loans or bailouts from the federal governments. We can't do that. So if the
No, in a
banks,
yes.
the banks did what, were actually identities like us, and actually went with the rules and played by the rules and actually lent money when they had money to lend instead of just fractional reserve lending and all this Mickey Mousing, you'd see a big difference in the banking system. You see a huge difference in the banking system.
Right. But like you're saying, there is a system that could work. You're right. It could be based on a free market. You're right. But do we have that? No, we don't. And that is like NASA. NASA is a psyop, in my opinion. That's just so you know. It's a psyop only because I know of actual flat out lies. And then I know sort of the history and the history of the whole psyop they did on the people. And that is part of our imagination. all of that, in my opinion, is all part to make us think, wow, look at us. It's imaginary. It's like Disney. It's to give you, and they always say it too, fueling the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
They're going nowhere. They've never gone anywhere. It's a joke when you look into it. They will never stop saying that we're going to have all this stuff one day, and it never comes. One reason or another, it's false. To me, that's all make believe. They're just trying to build the hope when there's all the nonsense going on around you. Let's just paint an imaginary life of somehow we're going to Mars and we're going to live there. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Okay, next.
Not
Ready?
going anywhere.
Travelers spend hours trying to get reservations at isolation hotels in Toronto. So it's costing people up to $1,500 to $2,000 when traveling and entering Canada. So there's a lot of countries. And you know what the thing is? What's really bizarre? It's certain countries. If you're coming in from certain countries, you don't have to do this. It's only like if you're on vacation, they want you to do this.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to cut that out like the average person. And, you got to keep paying for our own enslavement, like you said. Yeah, pay. Like they're going to just keep paying for your own enslavement, put it that way. And then stand in line while you're at it. Stand in line and pay the bill for your own, non-freedoms. Thanks a lot, government. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going away. But you're right. The immigrants don't have to pay. And I don't know, do they have to book their own place?
No, they don't have to do nothing. They just have to arrive. And there's other countries. There are other countries that are flying in that there's no quarantine checks either.
Yeah, they get the red card.
Wealthy investors, do not have. They bypass all that. By the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because if you're here on business, any business is
buying up our real estate because there's no business in Canada. Come and buy our schools, come and buy our mines, and come and buy our housing. Yeah, that's what it is, business.
Yeah, come and buy our banks.
Yep. Okay. Here's your favorite. Your two friends are on this one. Ready?
Yes.
Trudeau and Biden pledged to fight COVID-19, climate change, and rebuild the economy.
Right on. That's my
wet fart.
That's my yeah. Woohoo!
Fart with reverb. Fart with reverb. Oh. Okay, so there it is. So yeah, let's just skip that one. I no comment.
No comment. It's a joke. It's a little show. Little circus.
So here it is from a day ago. No evidence of explosive activity in variants in New York region's top doctors saying there's no variants. What are they talking about? But there's a variant in Canada, and it's called a snap federal election. So people cannot go in and vote. Nova Scotia and New Brunswick right now are on total lockdown, and you can't go in and vote in person. So it's a snap election, and you're going to vote. You're going to mail in your ballots just like they did in America, and they're going to find a bunch of dumpsters filled with ballots.
Yeah, snap electionitis. That's what it is.
They're pushing for that, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course I know that. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, and then we all sit and look and just people want to give up. There's 6 variants though. That's so they're saying. And of course, again, they're going to come out with the, oh my God, get ready for 6 variants. I don't know if there's still anyone who's going to believe that. There may be. But, it's just going to, that's not going to end. It's just not going to end. And again, with the no proof, there's no science. Everyone's saying, hey, you know what? There's no science to say that's going to be bad. Just like they predicted so much death, which never happened. Millions and, that didn't happen. But we just forget about that and move on to the next prediction that says all of this doom and gloom that's not going to come true, that science are saying, I don't think so. Where does that come from? But it's okay. Lock us up anyway under who cares what the facts are.
And again, in Canada, feds don't intend to set official date to lift all COVID-19 restrictions. So again, they're not letting us know. They don't want to tell us. Here's Boris Johnson there is opening up a role for recovery. And then we got, I think in New Zealand, it's pretty much open for business and most of Australia. But Canada to receive 640,000 doses this week. I just, you know what the thing is? The people that are pushing to get these vaccines and get these doses, they're not even taking the damn vaccine.
I don't know anyone who's really pushing it, but I do know people who've taken it. They're just trying, that's media hype, right? Oh, you might get yours soon. The scarcity is always a huge part of any kind of marketing. You have to create the scarcity, the idea that that's what it's like. And then,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's all orchestrated scarcities. And all those guys, all those politicians stand to profit. They're trying to get invested in vaccines and, you know, some of the delays for Canada might be because they're trying to invest in their own personal companies. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, next. Adamson barbecue owner Adam Skelly receives $187,000 invoice for services of the Toronto Police. So this is the guy that's been having his business open with his barbecue, and here's the Board of Health. And there's the staffing costs, municipal licensing standards, $4,566. Toronto Public Health, $8,140. Toronto Police Services, $165,188. A total of $177,000. Then non-staffing costs, invoice, lockup, and invoice contractors, $6,077. He owes $187,000
Woohoo!
for opening his barbecue business.
No, he had to pay the cops to come and arrest him, remember? No, he had to pay the cops to come and stop him from entering his place. That's what he had to do.
Number one, I already brought this up on the show. Police are going to have a really, really tough time finding a private sector job in the future if they ever quit the police force.
Do they do that much? No, they don't usually. Usually they stay and they're there and then they retire there. And
they retire there. Yeah, but I'm saying if they do layoffs, mass layoffs, when they realize that they can't, the public sector no longer could be funded because the private sector shut down.
Yeah. That is a good one. How is that going to work? They'll just print more money probably. They'll have, but they're not going to print more money because it will go digital eventually. And then, so they'll just digitally make more money, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there it is right there. So he's getting fined. But you know what's going to happen? If they can't prove this thing is real, or if they can't really prove, once it starts to surface, this guy could countersue, and this could be a major issue for them.
Yeah, he already has legal. There's a constitutional lawyer here in Canada, a few of them actually, and they've got lawsuits all over the place. And those people did offer to take on his case. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got a big bill. That's a separate issue. Then his lawyer bill is covered because they are making it prove, like Adam's Barbecue. Mm-hmm. He has a lawyer team behind him. They're making the province prove that you should see their rap sheet, like their what they're contesting, like prove the tests work, prove that this was the way to handle it, prove the deaths, like all the ins and outs of the science. They're bringing all that to court, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, I know they like to change definitions as they go along. I know the media, the governments like to renegotiate laws and rules as they go along. So the definition of pandemic, what is it, 6% death rate?
Actually, I think the amount of colds that we have in Canada really does sort of classify a little as a pandemic when it does happen, our cold and flu. That's just, I don't think it's 6%, No, not that. Of an
actual pandemic, a real pandemic.
Yeah, that would be the targeted amount, but that's
like
not
11,
what we have
like
going.
A big amount, right? Like we're talking like people dropping like flies everywhere.
Yeah, I think they predicted along those, or what did they predict? 2%? I don't know. They had, I don't even know. It's not what it is though. What we have is our typical cold and flu season.
Exactly, but they like to renegotiate things as they go along.
Well, first is what they do is like it's a typical marketing scheme. Because they understand that the first thing you see or hear is what's going to stick in your mind. You'll just, boom, your mind will hear it. That's what you hear. So if they say everyone's going to die, it's going to be this much, people are dropping and dead in the streets in China, then that's what you have in your mind. And then even when it doesn't really happen, like things change and it wasn't that bad, it's too late. You did what they got the result out of you they wanted to get. And, because you reacted. And so that's the result. And now it doesn't matter if it's backed up. It doesn't matter if it's backed up by, science and proof in the pudding that none of this happened. That's
like global warming. Florida should be underwater by 2007.
Exactly. But it's too late. It doesn't matter. They already got whatever they got done, with their legislation. And now on to the next level of lies.
Okay, well, here's the next one. Canada's worst nightmare is right here. Mexican
Mm-hmm.
president says Mexico is doing better than the U.S. on the virus. They're going to spin it, and a week later, America's going to be doing better, and then Mexico is going to be virus-free in 2 weeks, and then America will be virus-free in 3 weeks, and Canada's screwed because they need to get the snap election off the ground. And they're going to continue it here in Canada, of course, but the rest of the world is just going to say, we're doing better than that. Oh, South Africa's doing way better than Mexico. Oh, look at Russia. No cases in 3 weeks now, and that's what's going to, now they started this. Now this is Canada's worst nightmare. Mexican president says Mexico's doing better than the U.S. in viruses. That's it?
Yeah, I guess they are. Sure. I know that he doesn't wear a mask, nor does he believe in it, nor does he enforce it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And I know he had coronavirus apparently, but said it was no big deal. I think that sometimes I really think it's a matter of the people. Like the leaders can push the people as far as they can push them. It's up to the people how much they want to give in and listen. Yeah. And then the Mexicans, I mean, they've gone, they're too close to having been to battle. They're not about to give up their liberties as easy. Canada, somehow they're able to give up their liberties more easily. But other places are like, no, we've been there. We remember that. Us, we've gotten very soft. So... yeah, it's easier to fool us.
So this is not good for Canada because then the American president a week later saying, we're doing better than you, Mexico, screw you. And then Mexico goes back next week, and then Russia jumps in and says, we have no cases. And then Canada's holding the bag because we need to have all these variants and all this taking over. We need a snap election. Yeah.
You actually sound like a hockey announcer. You're
Do
right.
I?
That all sounds like a game that we're playing. Okay, and now Mexico takes the lead, but who's coming from behind? Here comes the U.S. It's really, it's all just moving parts to pretend there's a game going on. But don't worry, just like New Zealand, they were COVID free, and then boom, lockdown. So it's really just a big game. There's got to be some ups and some downs and some competition and some whodunits. It's all over the map. But take that with a grain of salt. That's just getting caught up in the game.
Oh, we got more problems for Canada. North Dakota House passes bill forbidding mandatory mask wearing. Canada's screwed because they're banning in-person voting. They're banning this. They're going with more variants. Man, everywhere's lifting. The election, the mail-in ballots served this purpose in the United States, and now they're forbidding mandatory mask wearing in North Dakota. Canada's screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm glad to hear that. There are some states. That's what's cool about the states. They have individual, different governors can say what they want. That sounds like a step in the right direction. I hope it is.
Even though this is from the actual mainstream media, The Hill, from North Dakota, the problem is, if I read this in Canada, they say, look, they're forbidding mandatory mask wear. They'll say, that's fake news, you racist Nazi.
What I really think is that it's part of the abuse cycle, because this is a lot to do with abuse. And so a lot of it is pretending you're going to have some freedom and then taking it away again. That's very devastating on the spirit. And so that's a way to chip you down. And it could just be that, giving hope and then chip it down. But it may not. Because I know that Florida has been pretty good. There are some states that have been pretty good. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's for real.
Florida recorded 47 flu viruses in flu season, where in 2019 they recorded 14,794.
Yeah, exactly. So and that wasn't with mandatory testing. Now they're making everyone test for everything. Then who went to the doctor when you had a flu? You just stayed in bed and got better.
That's it.
You didn't really go get a test. So
no, because you're gonna be one of the statistics for COVID.
Yeah, well, now it's mandatory to test. It's mandatory if you have a cough or any kind of anything. You've got to go get tested to see if it's COVID. And of course, now you don't have to have any symptoms. You must get tested. That's what they're trying to bring in with all kinds of reasons why. And in the UK, right, some schools are making it be a twice a week thing, and then we've got an Ontario school here that's going to make it mandatory. You got to test before going to school. I mean, they're trying to infiltrate testing when you're not even sick.
Mm-hmm.
What's
so
that?
We're having, how do we explain away the Like the Canadian the English media, or a lot of the media here in the West, they're completely ignoring the 250 million people protests in the last 2 months in India over the farmers and the farming issue they're having in India, but they're not bringing it up, because if they bring it up, it'd be like, wait, what about COVID, right?
I don't know if it's what about COVID. It's because the farmland issues are, again, largely Monsanto and the same players. They're the same bad actors. Like Gates is Monsanto, right?
No. I understand
So
that,
it's
Lynnie.
the same
I
thing.
totally get what you're telling me,
You're not
Lynnie.
allowed to talk against that.
Yeah,
You're
like
just not.
if we bring
Media
that up,
won't
look,
let you.
250 million people marching, none of them wearing masks. What's going on in India? Or like, why are these people dropping like flies? Well, they're not, because there's nothing happening, right? So
Yeah. I mean, the corona, like, there's so many protests. Wow, all throughout Europe. It's just packed with people in the streets. And Australia, I saw some huge marches for
and they
freedom.
always spin
You don't see
it,
that on the news.
but they always
No.
spin it as pro-Trump protests. They always do.
No.
In 100 years from now, they'll be having pro-Trump protests. 100 years.
Pro-Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not gone. He's around. He's peeking. He's hanging around somehow.
Well, speaking of Europe protests, thousands protest detention of Georgia's opposition leader in Tbilisi. So there it is. This is in Georgian. This is from Press TV's reporting this, because no other Western media is reporting it. There's tons of protests happening across Europe, like you said. It's just crazy. And no one, I don't see, well, I saw a guy wearing a mask. I saw one guy wearing a mask here in the crowd, and that's it. It's Europe is not standing for this anymore. And political turmoil and protests in Haiti linked to U.S. meddling.
Oh,
Haiti is in a huge uprising. Again, this is from Tuesday, 23rd of February, 2021.
Yeah.
This was posted 47 minutes ago. Unfortunately, they can't talk about this because then the whole COVID thing doesn't make any sense.
and Haiti, like, you can't talk about black or white, or I don't know. You can't even talk because you might be a racist if you do. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
It's pretty bad. I'm looking at the footage here,
Wow.
and it's really bad. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people all the way up the hill here, and they're all over. They're burning tires and throwing burnt tires at soldiers, and it looks like a protester throws a burning tire at a police officer during a demonstration. Look at this, Port-au-Prince, and it's been going on for almost 2 months now.
Yeah, they're in rough shape because, the poorer countries for sure are the ones who, we talk about a lot of food shortages. They're the ones who suffer the most out there. And then especially, their next door neighbor, Dominican, they're just right next door. And they had a good thing going with tourism. And I think, I don't know what they're going to do without their tourism. That was their largest, a lot of countries are going to hurt. Yeah.
Okay, here goes. U.S. on the brink of collapse on global stage, Iran's assembly of experts. So Iran is kind of forecasting a major economic fallout by the Americans, and that's what they're kind of bringing forward on their discussion panel there. And let's end it with Florida Man. Are you ready?
Florida Man, bring it on.
All right, here goes. Ready, guys? Florida man points gun at neighbor for flying Biden flag. I can't find a Biden flag anywhere online. I don't know what they look like. Commands dog to kill deputies. What's a Biden flag? Is it that says, I guess, vote for Biden flag?
Yeah, it must be.
I can't find one. I see a lot of Trump ones.
Must be his sniffy face.
He was arrested on Monday night and faces an aggravated assault with a weapon. Charge deputies with Lee County Sheriff's Officer said. So there it is. He told deputies that LaCourse was upset about the Biden flag on their property and started verbally assaulting them.
Yeah, they take their politics seriously. I wouldn't mess around with Florida.
Yeah. Florida man. Well, Lynnie, thanks for being with us tonight and helping me co-host this segment of Bullcrap News.
Yay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for making the time to talk with us. I'll be uploading this right now. So, guys, this is fresh off the press. And don't forget to share, subscribe, like, and we'll get to you. I'll read your comments. I'm always reading your comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Another fart here, and one there, and another one here. Thanks for watching, and we will talk very soon. I have spoken. Thank you.